In a world where cruelty knows no limits, a broken figure is found, barely recognizable, left as though life itself had abandoned them. A forgotten soul, clinging to the edge of existence, no longer resisting, only waiting for the darkness to end their suffering. But fate has other plans. Something far greater is about to begin, and everything is about to change.
The story opens quietly, with a simple, gentle moment. A man kneels down, carefully wrapping a bandage around a child's scraped knee. His voice is calm, reassuring, promising that everything will be okay. The child's face lights up with a bright smile, gratitude shining in their eyes, before running off, reminded softly to be more careful next time. That man was the apothecary. But on this particular day, he wasn't there to heal anyone. He had only come in search of rare ingredients when suddenly a pawn shop owner called out to him. Without much explanation, the man urged him into a back room, insisting there was something he needed to see. There was unease in his voice, hesitation in his eyes. Then he opened the door, and the apothecary froze. Inside was a girl, or rather, what remained of one. Her body was frail, barely clinging to life. Her eyes were empty, lifeless, as if the light within them had long been extinguished. Her elven ears were torn, pierced over and over again. Scars covered her entire body, deep, cruel marks of torture that stretched across years, maybe even decades. Calmly, far too calmly, the shop owner explained. She had been used until she was no longer useful, then discarded. The apothecary couldn't move, couldn't breathe, and then the man added something even colder. Her body could still be valuable, useful for crafting rare medicines. With a small gesture, he told the apothecary to decide. Silently, ignoring him, the apothecary stepped forward. Channeling magic into his fingertip, he began to examine her condition. And what he found was far worse than he imagined. Infection had already spread through her body. Her fingers were beginning to decay, her nails completely torn out. Whip marks and blade wounds carved across her skin. Most of her teeth were gone, only a few left so she could still eat. One of her eyes was missing. And yet, "Can you hear me?" he asked softly. For a moment, nothing. Then, a faint twitch of her ear. She could hear him, even now, after everything. But the worst damage wasn't what he could see. Her internal organs were failing. She didn't have much time. And then, barely audible, a broken voice escaped her lips. "I want to go home." A single tear slid down her cheek. Something inside the apothecary snapped. His fist slammed into the ground, anger surging through him. How many times had she whispered those words, only to be ignored or punished? Meanwhile, the shop owner kept talking, trying to sell her off, calling her worthless than livestock, saying he just didn't want her to die in his shop.
That was enough. "I'll take her." The words came out like thunder. He asked for something to carry her with, but the owner just stared at him in disbelief. "You're insane," he said. "You're going to cross the bloody mountain carrying someone like that?" The apothecary didn't respond. Gently, he covered the girl with cloth, speaking softly. "I won't hurt you. I'll keep you safe." She didn't react. No resistance, no fear, nothing. It was as if she had long accepted being treated as nothing more than an object. He lifted her onto his back and began the long journey. As they traveled, the apothecary tried to speak to her, but she gave no response. Occasionally, he thought he heard her whisper something under her breath. By the time they reached the mountain's peak, night was approaching. He decided to stop and rest. As he removed the cloth covering her face, she continued murmuring one word, home. The apothecary set down his bag and prepared food, carefully making it soft enough for her to eat. When the scent reached her, she reacted faintly, as if surprised. He fed her slowly, one small spoonful at a time. To his surprise, she managed to chew. After she finished, he wiped her face clean. Another tear rolled down her cheek. But as night deepened, her condition worsened. Her breathing grew heavy, her body trembling with fever. The infection was spreading. Working quickly, the apothecary gathered what he could and prepared a makeshift remedy, something to reduce fever and fight the infection. He mixed herbs, crushed a magic stone, and added honey and salt to make it easier to swallow.
As he helped her drink it, he spoke gently, urging her not to give up. She whispered again, weaker this time. Where? He understood. Brushing her hair softly, he answered, We'll get you home, I promise. Soon she drifted into sleep. That night, the apothecary lay awake. He knew his words might have been reckless. He wanted to help her, but her suffering, it was likely caused by people like him. It had been 80 years since the war ended, since the 5 races began living in peace, but not everyone believed in that peace. To some, others were still nothing more than tools, or worse. As he drifted into sleep, shadows rose in his dream, hands clawing up from the ground, grabbing at him, the faces of those he had killed. He woke suddenly. Morning had come. The girl was awake. Her eyes were still empty, but there was something new, a faint spark. The apothecary smiled gently. I'm going to carry you again, he said softly. He didn't know if he could truly save her, but he could try. Kneeling beside her, he took her hand. You've suffered more than anyone should, he said, not just in body, but in heart. He paused, then continued. I don't know who you were before, but I'll give you a new name. Rasser. A name with a wish, he said, because I will heal you, no matter what. You'll live again. She didn't respond, but she didn't look away either. And so, their journey began.
And that's where this chapter ends. But the story is far from over. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss the next chapter.